Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you guys have a great weekend. And today we are going to be doing a analysis on all the big tech stocks. And the reason we are doing that is because the big five tech stocks here are consist of actually 40% of QQQ. So if just this five moves up, QQ is going to go up. So it's going to be very important for us to know which way the market's going to be heading, as well as if QQQ and NASDAQ moves up, SPY is going to be moving up as well. So let's take a look, starting with NVIDIA. And NVIDIA, if you ask me, is it overvalued or not? I am going to say it's definitely overvalued for me based on a fundamental PE ratio point of view. But if you're asking me as a trader, just based on the price action, I'm going to have to say it's currently in a full bull control. And based on the short term, traders can be more irrational and emotional than what the fundamentals can do. Fundamentals are more for usually longer term, where it will revert back to the mean of the fundamentals, right? But price action is always consists of all the traders' emotions and the short term as well as over time. So we just have to, as a trader, you want to follow the trend and trade based on what the chart is telling you. So right now the chart is telling us everything is bullish, but there is some potentials that that NVIDIA is topping out. So let's take a look at it. So this is my resistance and support guide, and you can see we have it 1, 2, 3, and back here as well. And down here, support, support, support. So we are getting really close to NVIDIA deciding which way it wants to break out of this rising wedge. I mean, if it goes to the end of the pattern, it will take us to the end of May, but it doesn't have to take us to the end of the pattern. And right above us is key resistance zone for NVIDIA, this 289, 290 to 288 range right here, where we have rejected once here on Monday. And you can see if we scroll back, it's the resistance back here, and used to act as a support back here, and also a lot of volumes resistance traded in that area as well. So that is going to be a key resistance, because if NVIDIA can break that, we're likely looking at 300s, 300. So yeah, that's going to be very, very key. If bears can't defend even this area, then it's heading to 300. So right now we are, let's see, 4% up on Friday, and QQQ was up 2.2%. So it did outperform QQQ on Friday. And the key for me is, can QQQ or NASDAQ break above its resistance? Because QQQ and NASDAQ literally close right under its like quadruple top or triple top resistance. And so that's going to be a headwind. Could be a headwind or a tailwind for NVIDIA on Monday. So we all have to see. So if NVIDIA does come up to this level again, I will be watching to see how the price action is going to trade, because relative strength becomes relative weakness when a stock hits a critical resistance zone, and vice versa. So if NVIDIA comes up to here and is still relative strength, then it will very likely go up testing this rising wedge's top resistance zone. And as of now, NVIDIA is in a no trend, so it's in a neutral trend. We had a uptrend here, and then it just turned into a slightly downtrend / double bottom here. Then now we're in a neutral trend. So if NVIDIA needs to go break this above this prior high to uptrend, and if NVIDIA can break this prior low right here, pivot low, then it becomes a downtrend. So right now it's a neutral trend in terms of the daily time frame. So we'll see how Monday will go. Let's take a look at Google. Google just straight sideways, not exciting at all. You can see this cluster of barcoding, so we usually call it. And the key resistance zone for me, still same thing, 106.5 is literally just right under it forever. Every time we get over it, next day we're below it, next day we're below it, next day we're pretty much below it. And so it's never really held above 106.5. You can see all this rejections over here. Rejected, 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 rejected. Even after earnings, it's still hovering just around that corner. It does get above this. Then I'm looking on this black looking line. You can see here, rejected once, rejected twice, 3 times, and then 4 times here. So if we do get above here, then I'm likely looking at this black looking line. What I want to see is we get above it. When we retest it, at least hold it for once. You can see every time we get above it, and when we retest it, we just blew through below it. So I want to see it at least hold it, bounce off of it, and then we're likely testing this upper black looking line. That's going to be the bull side for me, bull case. Obviously, if a bear side, we break down here. If we break below this prior low, then we're heading into a daily downtrend. So that's what bears want to see. And if we do get really bad, then I'm looking at down here. Let's see. Like a little bit better like this. Yeah. So if it does get really bad where we break this pivot low and then this low pivot, then we're likely heading down into this range for the bears. As of now, no signs of that yet. You can see the chart still hasn't broken down yet, but just choppy. We got Microsoft. Yeah, if every chart looked like this, we would probably be hitting all-time highs right now on the market. But Microsoft just confirmed its weekly bull flag and on Friday, so it's looking really nice. But it popped into its key resistance sell zone. It's crazy how let's see how many percentage we moved up. 13% on one of the biggest stocks in the entire market in just a week and a half, which is insane. And into a critical sell zone. So Microsoft 310 to 315 is a critical sell zone. You can see this area as well. And you can see how here we rejected from here. And this area used to act as a support. So right now we are under it. So we used to act as a really strong support. Now it's going to act as a resistance. So I don't think Microsoft can get over it due to the size of the run and the amount of time that it took us to get there. If it was something like, like this, where it was traded like down here, and it consolidated really nicely and then sideways, back and forth, and then we go test this area, and now I'll be like, yeah, there's a good chance Microsoft is a very strong stock that we have a good chance of breaking resistance. But then after such a significant move in such a significant short time into critical resistance, chances of it breaking it the first time is very slim. So, I mean, anything can happen, but when we're traded, we have just talked about probabilities, which way favors us and which way doesn't favor us. So as of now, everything on the chart is still completely full bull control, though. Everything's bullish, and bulls have full control, but we just gotta be careful on the other side when it hits critical resistance. So we'll see on Monday if Microsoft does end up rejecting from this zone or not. So let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon is one of those weaker big techs, as well as Google. So Amazon, you can see this hasn't really done much at all. You can see everyone else since October's low from last year has gone up a significant amount, and Amazon's gone up. That's pretty good for 27%, but still compared to like Meta or any other stocks, we are down quite a bit. Wait, October, June, yeah, right here. Yep. So this wedge looking is my visual guide, resistance and support. You can see all these rejections here, 1, 2, 3, and then this fourth one here came in, and 1, 2, 3, 1. So what am I looking at for Amazon in the near term? Essentially, I just think it's going to just chop in within this range, because that's how it usually works. When you have a big move down and a big move up, the most likely scenario that I've been talking about for a lot of stocks is an equilibrium, meaning it just closes within its prior ranges. Happens quite often, especially in this volatile market. So that's essentially what I am going to see, and you can see how choppy you have been around this. And Amazon is also in a neutral trend. You can see it was in an uptrend here, and then after this breaking to the pivot low, then we are in a neutral trend now. The levels for me, see if we can test back up here again or not. We need to hold above this 304 and 302 range though. You can see how many times we have rejected from it, but now we are above it. So that needs to act as support. So if we just blew through under that again, then we are likely testing this area again. So we need to stay above here for sure to test this area. So far, it did look like we bounced off of it, so that's a good sign for the bulls. And let's take a look at Apple. All right, Apple as well, one of the strongest stocks in the market with Microsoft, and that's the reason why QQQ is up so much. Due to obviously these two guys itself, Microsoft and Apple already weighs 25% of the entire QQQ. So let's take a look how much it has been up. 38% for one of the biggest stocks in the market is a very decent move. So we are still in full bull control, and there is zero red flags for Apple at all as well, just like Microsoft. And ever since we broke above this black boom trend line, it back tested once here and held, and then we had a bullish earnings reaction. And you can say Microsoft did the same thing. So do we does it like consolidate around here just like Microsoft and then makes his next move up after it has cooled down a little bit, or is this going to be something that it ends up rolling over? So we have to take a look at that. And if you ask me, I'm going to say Apple is in a key resistance zone as well. So I don't think it'll get over 176. That's my opinion. And if we don't reject from here, we're heading to 176. And I think 176 is going to be a temporary top for Apple due to this area as well, and this rejection as well. And a little bit here as well. And if Apple gets over 176, market is definitely, QQQ probably will be up another let me see. QQQ will probably be another 1.5%. Yeah, if we do get over 176, we're likely looking at all-time highs for Apple. That's another 5%. If Apple goes to all-time highs, then QQQ is probably looking pretty darn good, if you ask me. Probably the 330s. And yeah, the only thing I don't like what happened on Friday was if you zoom in to the 5-minute time frame, right? So we had earnings reactions back here, which is bullish, and we gapped up. And the only thing was all the bullish action was in the first 10 minutes, and that was it. And you can see we went completely sideways throughout the day. In the morning, QQQ was up 0.7% around this when Apple was moving up. And for the rest of the day, QQQ went to 2.2%, while Apple just went completely sideways and actually dropped a little bit in the end of the day, while QQQ was up close to 2%. So that's not what I want to see as a bull. I want to see something like, this, and then while QQQ was going up, this slowly kind of grinds up, right? I mean, I get it. We had such a huge move up, and after QQQ moves up, it's just going to catch up, right? But this is not what we want to see as much. While the entire sector and everyone else was moving up, Apple just went sideways. This may potentially be a distribution zone where sellers were just selling in the zone. So we'll see if it continues into Monday, and that marks the temporary top, and potentially sell back into its gap on the daily gap. Well, if not, then we can say this was just a nice solid sideways consolidation for the bulls, and then they were just taking a rest after such a big move, and then they're ready to make the next move up, potentially later in the week after CPI data releases or something. So we'll see about that. Take a look. Yeah, so if we do break that, then I'm looking at this 175, 176 zone for sure. This would be a sell zone for me if we get up to this area, we gap up to this area, I'm very likely going to short. But and set a stop loss above, yeah, just slightly above here. And let's take a look at the VIX. So the only thing that I don't like being a bull right now is the VIX. It's just so low. Like it's so low compared to where the market is sitting at the moment, and how it almost doesn't make sense based on the amount of uncertainty and the fear in the market does not reflect in the VIX. So you can see VIX is pretty much in like all-time lows. This would have been like, you see the VIX right here at roughly 16 ish. This was all-time highs in the market when we were back in December 2021. Market was hitting all-time highs during this time. And as well as obviously back here, market was just trending up into all-time highs. So everything was very frothy. And so yeah, so that's got me a little bit wary, being a bull in the market, of how low the VIX is. And we did get one of those crazy spikes on Thursday. As you can see back here, we're up, but then everything just came back on Friday. But what I'm looking at is VIX, due to how the size of this bounce. I am looking for a daily higher low, meaning this low set should be higher than this low. And if that happens, then we potentially set bounce from here. And due to the size of this pullback, the chances of us heading to a new high and form a daily uptrend is lower due to the size of this, due to how big this pullback was. So the most likely scenario now would be a more of an equilibrium. So potentially be something like this. Then it'll decide which way it wants to go right after that. So I guess we'll have more choppiness in the market if that does happen, choppiness. So we'll see. And then they'll decide to break up or down from there. So if this VIX does bounce from here, then market will likely heading lower. VIX trades usually the opposite of what the market does. So we'll be careful into the CPI data on Wednesday. So it could be something like, a little bit and into Wednesday, and then let's say we get a really bad, like a 5.2. Okay, 5.2 isn't that bad, but like a 5.2 versus a 5, market will not like that. And, we have a nice spike in the fear index, and market would drop. Or we bounce Monday, Tuesday, and we get a nice CPI print, which is maybe 4.9 or 4.8, and market's like, phew, they feel relieved, and we come back down and we form that equilibrium. So I think for the next week, and as well as all the big tech stocks where they're sitting at close to resistance, and as well as NASDAQ, the QQQ NASDAQ index tech stock itself is also sitting at resistance. You can see rejection, 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 sort of. We just have to see if it actually rejects, but we got to that exact level and closed below it. So it's getting a little bit interesting. So due to the size of this bounce, the most likely scenario for this one is obviously the higher low, which is already set. And now is, can the bulls break above this prior high? So if it does break above prior high, then we are now in a daily uptrend again. Now NASDAQ is in a neutral trend.